welcome back to episode 5 of Stitchocalypse. I'm Brittany Jinks, and this is a podcast that I film in Napa, California, where I live with my husband and my son, and yeah, it's all about whatever crafty thing. Hi. He's awake. It's all about whatever crafty thing I'm doing. It's primarily sewing and... I know! Mommy's lying. I haven't sewn in a long time. It's primarily sewing and knitting. Get a load of the sky. I'm never going to get through this. So, primarily sewing and knitting. I did pick up crochet a couple weeks ago, but it's not exactly podcast worthy just yet. It's very horrible. My skills... Well, okay, so I did do this. All right, and we're back with a visitor. This episode might be kind of choppy. It's a little difficult to film while he's awake, but I gotta take that time where I can get it. So, you can find me on Instagram at SewJinxed and also on Ravelry as Bad Girl Project. I know I'm a little all over the place in terms of all my handles, so I'm trying to come up with a cohesive internet presence, if you will. I'll announce that here whenever I decide. You can also follow my blog, Stitchocalypse.com, where I post all of my finished objects, and there's a new post. And I don't know if you can tell why there might be a new post, but there is. So you can go to Stitchocalypse.com and see that there. All right, now getting into the nitty gritty. Hi, this is Odin. Mwah. He is 11 months old this month. So sad. We have not a single tooth, by the way. So we still eat these baby foods. Lifesaver. Yeah. All right. Actually, I do have some sewing today, which is amazing. I know. Mommy did it while you were sleeping. Maybe I should have done this podcast while you were sleeping. Okay, so this pattern is not new to anyone in the sewing community, particularly the retro sewing community. Gertie put this out summer before last, I think. Yeah, summer before last. Hi! And I did make one and it was horrible. I was pregnant, I didn't feel well, so my heart just wasn't in it. So yeah, it's taken me over a year to attempt number 2. This is where I'm at so far. I just finished the bodice while he was sleeping. So I've understitched, honey. I'm afraid you're gonna fall. Okay. So I've just understitched the lining. This pattern calls for facings. Oh, that's a go. Calls for facings, but I prefer to do a full lining on all of my bodices because I just like that extra support on my bust because they have I got some big boobies, so that always helps me. Therefore, it's fully lined, self-lined. And for the straps, I opted not to do the adjustable straps, one, because they're fiddly as all get out and I just don't care for that, and 2, because I don't know how long our breastfeeding relationship is going to be going on, so I wanted to have this be a breastfeeding friendly option in my wardrobe, and I plan on having 20 billion more babies anyway, so might as well continue with the breastfeeding friendly options long after he is weaned. Whenever he decides that is, I have a feeling it's going to be kind of difficult. Hi, my sweet boy. So, yep, did the straps to tie into the bow. This fabric I've had in my stash for quite a while. This is the Cotton and Steel Porto. I actually have the selvage on one of the straps. cotton and steel from Porto. It's by Sarah Watts, the designer. She's one of the designers in the Cotton and Steel Collective. And I got this at the Missouri Star Quilting Company several years ago. I got 6 yards of this baby. My family lives about 40 minutes south, and I forced them all to go up to Hamilton so that I can look at all the fabric. I am no means a quilter. I'm not a quilter. However, I do love a good novelty print. So I have to go up there and look at all the fabric. And I always get some as a souvenir. That is my souvenir. And before I started knitting, fabric was always my souvenir. So now I just get to have 2 skein of yarn and a couple yards of some fabric. Yeah, that's a thing. Be careful. So I've had this wondering what I wanted to do with it for the longest time. And finally, I'm just like, you know what? I just need to cut into it. And this is the pattern that I'm feeling. It's fall. I just want to wear black or pink. Black and pink. There you go. So I'm hoping to get the skirt pieces cut today and maybe gathered. I can't make any promises. He is also why knitting has taken such a huge chunk of my crafting time, because I'm able to work on that while he's awake and easily set it down. It's a little bit more of a production to be sewing, as every, you know, if you sew, you understand it's a bit more of a production. So yeah, I'm happy to have sewn though. I feel quite chipper about it. So hopefully I'll have a finished object to show you in that regard. And without further ado, I suppose we'll move on to the knitting. Should we start with FOs? I think let's start with FOs. So I have finished my Poisongrrls Beauty School top, and if you follow me on Instagram or if you've popped over to Stitchocalypse, you've already seen it. I've worn this puppy like 4 or 5 times now since I've made it. It's so soft and I feel like $1,000,000 wearing it, and I mean, I've always felt accomplished finishing a sewing project, but Lord if I don't feel like a superhero after finishing my first knitted sweater. Yeah, oh my gosh, it's just very empowering. Right! Mommy wants to knit all the things. So, yep, maybe we can do a, ooh, boobs. There's that. So I used a tubular bind off on both cuffs and the hem of the body. The hem of the body, I didn't stretch it as I went very well, so it is a little snug. However, I can still easily get it on and off. It's just something that I was conscious of as I bound off my cuffs. And obviously we'll be conscious of the next time I bind the body off on another project. So yeah, I have 1 FO to show you. Technically I have 2. My Andrea Mowry May sweater is currently blocking in the living room. Living in my my A Needle Runs Through It project bag. Is this not amazing? So whenever anybody gets asked coffee or tea, I'm always coffee. I love to drink tea, but I love coffee more. So I got this at Lambtown in Dixon, which is a small sheep and wool festival in Dixon. It's about an hour northeast of me. And I took Odin and it was a lot of fun. We just did, just walked around and ate food, watched the sheepdog demo, which is amazing. The patience that these people have to bring these dogs up, like, it's amazing. It truly is. So that was really fun. Odin loved the dogs. There was a part of the fence where each one who was going to be demonstrating had been, you know, tied up, waiting their turn. And he was just going nuts, just talking to them. Of course, they weren't paying attention. They all had their eyes on the sheep. But anyway, so I did get this there as a little treat to myself. And I also needed a project bag that was big enough for a sweater. So without further ado, work in progress number 1, my What the Fade. Oh, jolly good. So my What the Fade shawl. I'm in the middle of a row, but here she is. So I put a progress marker in. Last I filmed, I was actually down here and didn't have a progress keeper, so I put one in. I don't know why I put it all the way up there. Anyway, this is my Shelly Can #whip progress keeper. It's like the only one I have besides my Beehive Yarns one. So they get moved from project to project, like, I don't know, whenever I feel like I don't need to keep track of this one. However, this is, it's starting to get a little tedious. I'm done with the brioche, and I thought that the garter would be a welcome relief. However, it's just garter on garter on garter. And that's fine, but when you have this many needles, when you have this many stitches on your needles, like 2 rows of this, and you're like, all right, I'm ready to do something else. So I do anticipate this one taking a bit longer to complete, considering I'm only on the first garter fade, and I think there's like 3 or 4. Perhaps there might even be 5. I can't recall. There's a lot of fading to be done. So yeah, that's my What the Fade. Hang that up there. Trying to keep my workspace clean. You wouldn't believe the mess that lives over here. It's embarrassing. But I have my priorities straight. It's podcast time. So. This one. So living in my, I don't even know what this is, this bird project bag. I got it at my local yarn shop. I decided to treat myself to a new cast on. I have cast on the Nurtured Sweater by Andrea Mowry. Now this one is pretty cool, and you know, maybe like more seasoned knitters might not find this to be very interesting, but hi, sweet boy. Yeah. So this is going to actually be the wrong side of the fabric, and this is the right side. So it's this really beautiful honeycomb stitch that's created by slipping a stitch and purling into the next one. I'm using Patton's Classic Worsted. I saw this yarn in the store. Honey, can mommy get through this? Just one more minute. Can mommy get through one more minute? Yeah. So I saw this yarn in the shop, and the color was so pretty, and it didn't feel all that scratchy to me, and I really wanted to knit with it, but I just didn't have a project in mind. So when I finished my Poisongrrls sweater and I'm like looking through wanting a quicker knit, I opened up my queue and I saw, oh yeah, the Nurtured Sweater, which is a new release, and it's worsted wool. So I, needless to say, cast it on, obviously. So you knit the sleeves first, and then attach them to the body. I was reading through the instructions last night, and I was kind of understanding it. I'm definitely like a hands-on learner. My reading comprehension used to be a lot better. Maybe back when I had more sleep. So, oh, don't touch that, Bubba. So yeah, that'll be hopefully not tricky. So I'm looking forward to seeing how she designed the construction of that. Again, more seasoned knitters might know exactly what she's doing. I don't. Is that all my whips? Is that all of Mama's whips? I mean, I have a few more, but I haven't done anything with them, so I'm not going to show them. Oh, I guess I could show this one. So for a while now, I've been wanting to knit the Newling cap by Caitlin Hunter, Boyland Knitworks, and I wanted it for him, there, my Newling. So I've cast it on and I've begun the pattern repeat. So the stitch definition is not, it's not as pronounced as I wanted it to be, and it's not as pronounced as it is in her sample. So I'm guessing that's my yarn choice there, because this is a 2-ply and I think she technically used a 4-ply yarn. So I'm guessing that's, you know, my bad. It's so super duper soft, and he doesn't like to wear hats, so I kind of think that softness is going to end up trumping anything else. Not that 4-ply yarn isn't soft, but this is baby alpaca, so I think he'll kind of like wearing it. If we go to Tahoe this summer, if we go to Tahoe this winter, I am not coming unprepared. Last year, when he was just 6 weeks old, I hadn't been to the snow in forever, like since I was a teenager, and I'm not going to talk about how far ago that was. So I hadn't been to the snow in quite some time, and I'm thinking, oh, it's fine. Bring him a light sweater, bring myself a light sweater, no boots, didn't even bring like my house Uggs, nothing. Yeah, we go to North Star, and he's in his stroller, and I'm pushing him around, and I've got the jersey stroller cover on it, and I happen to look down in, because it's got a little window, the way it was designed, so I look in at him, and his eyes are just like, clearly I'm letting my baby freeze. So we went in and we bought him a stupid expensive little coat, because that's obviously your only option when you're that desperate. So anyway, I'm not letting that happen again. I'm not getting a bad mom award in Tahoe this year. I'm gonna get a good mom award in Tahoe. So he's gonna have bonnets, and I'm gonna finish a sweater. In the last episode, I mentioned that I had a couple of skeins of yarn drying, and have mentioned that I really enjoy dyeing yarn. So they're dry now, weeks later. Good. Here they are. So for the fun of it, I named this one Gryffindor Wins. Or perhaps it should have been called Typical. Should have seen that coming. Tell me something I don't know. Any of those work for this one. And then this one here I really love, and I'm just calling it Raspberry Sundae. It's a semi-solid raspberry with like lighter pink sections. It's almost kind of like an ombre effect dye method that I used. So this one, and then this one, I also really like this one. So got some really deep indigos that fade into like a lavender gray with raspberry speckles and bright teal. It's very oceanic, quite like it. So these three are superwash merino singles, and because I don't need a bunch of yarn but I quite like dyeing it, these are for sale in my Etsy shop, which you can find, I'll put it on the screen, but it's Moonlight Dyes Co. And yeah, these are for sale there. If you are interested or not, it's totally fine. I just don't need this much yarn in my stash. As you can see back here, that is all undyed yarn that I will be dyeing up. And of that yarn, I dyed these 2 skeins, which these ones are from Moi. This I am calling Amethyst. It's a kind of a layered tonal purple. So there's some bits that are a little more blue, some that are a little more plum. And this is a 2-ply superwash Blue Face Leicester 80/20 nylon, Blue Face Leicester nylon. I know that this is typically used for socks, but I'm going to use it for a Poisongrrls Rizzo sweater. So I'm really, really excited about this. And I think I'm going to dye up more of this and put that in my Etsy shop as well, because I just really love purple and pink and black. Those are my colors. So that's my yarn dyeing excursion that I have gone off on. Obviously, like I said, I'm going to have more to show you in weeks to come as those get dyed up. And yeah, so I'm excited about that. It's a lot of fun. And like I need anything else going on in my life, but anyway. So on to personal. Right? So let's talk about the personal. And if I seem a little bit deflated, it's because I had just taken care of a meltdown off camera, so I apologize. In the realm of personal, I have completed my first phase of Invisalign, which has been quite a bear, honestly, to get through. 18 grueling weeks of elastics and Invisalign trays once a week and weird overlay stuff. It honestly seemed like I was having the modern equivalent of 70s headgear. So they got my jaw pulled back. I don't know if you can tell in video from previous episodes to now. There's obviously phase 1, so there's still work to be done, and they didn't have an appointment for my next phase until December. I guess I go to quite a popular orthodontist, so I won't start phase 2 until December, and then hopefully that'll be the final one, and I will have a perfect mouth. Yay! I took on the actually quite exciting task of cooking Thanksgiving dinner this year. I'm very excited. I love Thanksgiving. I do understand that that it does have problematic roots, and I don't want to go too much into that because I don't really feel like I can speak very eloquently to it. However, I do enjoy any reason to get together with family and eat good food. I'll never say no to that. And I like a beer or glass of wine and turkey and mashed potatoes. Like, mashed potatoes, people. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm gonna look at a couple of Maddie Matheson recipes because he is probably my favorite he's quite popular celebrity chef online. I made a few of his recipes before and they're super good. So anyway, I'll be doing that, and I'm gonna wrap this episode up. I thank you so much, if you're still here, for joining me today. If you're a returning viewer, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here and interacting with me and talking about all of the crafting. And if you're new, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Please feel free to subscribe if you want to be notified when I upload again, typically every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on my schedule and that guy over there, and whether or not I've been able to, craft and find the time for that. So again, I bid you adieu until next time. Bye. Is that Odie? Is that Odie? Hi.